All right, so here we are, and we keep going on the 4-6 profile on the writing across of Eden. Here we go, 4-6. Let me come to the magic of the 4-6 on this cross. This is one of these extraordinary lines. It's the line of the teacher. I love this line. The ability to express the essential nature of peace. This that is the essential nature of ideas, is that we have a number of variation. That is, we got to the sage that in extreme can teach harmony to the tone deaf. We got to the ability to reach out and attract the alienated. We got to the guru who's got most values wisdom is intentionally limited to a few. Ideas which can only be grasped by a few. So when you're looking at the 4-6, and this is the teaching line, again, it says something about the influence of the 4 and the power of the network. The ability to externalize. Yes, the externalization of ideas has to be carefully limited. The first thing you notice is that the ideas only become potentially teachable only when they become upper trigram. The realist doesn't do a good job being a teacher. They do a good job of learning themselves. The moment you get into the transpersonal, the moment you get to the upper trigram, the force says, aha, I have to be able to get the idea to the other. So rather than being concerned about the nature of the idea, they're concerned about the methodology of transferring the idea to the other person. This is what really makes them a teacher. And beyond that, in that recognition of the other, after all, it's a network to be able to see in that network who can grasp what. It's like every once in a while you have a situation where there's a couple of people who've been told 10 years in human design, and a newcomer sits down at the table, and the conversation that everybody was having is pointless for that person. They can't get in. There's no way they can get in because they're not ready for those concepts packaged in that way. One of the things that a teacher has to realize is that when we see in our institutions is that we teach to the lowest common denominator. In other words, we teach to the level that the base intelligence grabs, which is why intelligent children are children that are different, are so bored in institutions. And one of the things to see about teaching, and this is the first thing you learn, it's like me. It took me realistically 10 years to lay out the foundation in which I had to wait 10 years before I could teach things that I wanted to teach 10 years ago. And I had to wait year by year by year, slowly just releasing the information because there's no point in putting it out when it's not time. There's no point trying to teach somebody something they're not ready for. This is what the potential of the 4-6 is. In other words, it's the ability through recognition of a network to recognize where on the other is the opportunity. Again, opportunism, the opportunity to take in the value of the idea. This is Einstein's line, and you can see it in this guru. This deeply limited in Einstein's lifetime, how many people understood him? They may say 5 or 6. It's like it was only there for a few. No point old AI standing up, old L standing up in front of some second year physics class in university, trying to teach them the principles of God doesn't throw dice because it just doesn't work. It's just blah. Anyway, Albert Einstein, I don't know, guys. We cannot believe anything. Do know that there's a whole different civilization before us in Tartarian times with different consciousness. So, anyone who's a hero right now, he's a hero because they want us to think that he's a hero. I don't have much with his theories and his whole story. Anyway, my whole thing about simplification is I realized long time ago that I can reduce things to a simple formula. You can both reach the idiot and impress the genius. Again, this is all part of the mechanism. So the 4-6 has a dilemma. The dilemma always for the 4-6 is the first 28 years of their life. They need to meet their line of opportunity in that first echo in their life, and yet it's confused with so many other things that are not correct. Again, that 4-3 phase is always being aligned to the wrong people. If you're an idea person and you're a natural teacher, being aligned with a bunch of bozos is going to increase your capacity to teach or your interest in it for that matter. If you're in a highly educated, stimulated environment growing up, then it becomes something quite interesting. These there are these two things in human design. You get the 48 gate, and the 48 gate is the black magic. It's a desire to manipulate reality. You get the 11th gate, and it's white magic. That white magic is the desire to illuminate reality literally. In other words, bring light to the experience of living. What becomes dependent on that is what happens on this cross. You can't illuminate unless you train people to receive illumination. If you don't teach somebody mathematics from the earliest age and move them along in the mathematical track and get them into physics, only until they get to the end of that track, they will then begin to have the possibility of grasping what all L Old L had to say. It's a long track to train the mind to be able to conceptualize in certain ways to grasp it. So there's a fundamental dilemma in the Cross of Eden that when you get to the transpersonal, they say, hey, we got all these techniques, but nobody's ready for us. What's very spooky for the 11 is that the recognition that I've got this great idea and nobody can make sense of it. They don't see it, and seeing it is something they say all the time. They don't see it, they don't get it, they're not trained for it. It'll be interesting to see the Eden 4-6 beings, what they can look like when they're on the roof, and to see what kind of transition that will be for them. I think it's deeply significant. After all, these beings are here to express the essential nature of ideas, which is to express the essential nature of the past. So they're very important to us in terms of being able to describe, for example, the tripartite 6-line process as an evolutionary process, as a mutative process. They're going to be great teachers of that. So yeah, when you get to the 4-6, all of a sudden you get into a more transpersonal connection, and this is the teaching, to be able to teach the other people. Okay, good luck with that.